Hello and welcome to the Highly Visible Podcast. You're here with me, your host, Dan. Unfortunately, you also have to hear from the man who doesn't speak, Caden, up top. The overgrown man-child with far too many toys on display, Cullen. And you have to hear himself, the sea turtle in the background, Captain Empathy himself. I don't know what this means, but flower child is what I've been told. Thomas. Unfortunately, we're going to drag you kicking and screaming through a conversation about conspiracy theories. Cullen, inform the masses.
I don't like this anymore.
There you go. You like that?
Listen up.
Yeah, I didn't want to get like
there.
fucking. Well, I didn't want to go fucking. All right, motherfucker.
Should've.
Look. Well, no. There's like a.
Sometimes we
What do you
want the
call that?
nuclear option.
Gradations of Dan, and like the public doesn't understand.
Some of us like
1
it.
minute
Dan.
in.
Okay.
1 minute in, what? What the fuck is your problem now?
1 minute in, he's trying to sound smart, and he's just not, folks. I'm sorry.
He's-
Tried to tell you.
Marcus
I've warned you.
Aurelius.
We do this
I've been
every
reached out to by
episode.
many parties this week that have all agreed with me that he is just trying to sound smart.
If there are
but he's
more
actually
than
not.
if it's more than just you in the crowd that's saying that I'm not intelligent, I'm inclined to agree. But if it's just you in your own echo chamber,
No. Someone else that listens to the podcast spoke to me about it today. He's like, you
Caden.
know what? I realized
Ooh,
when
it
you
was
said
Caden.
it. You're right. Yeah, Caden thinks you're a dumbass too. So does Tom, but that's not the point. See, now I'm doing the roasting. This isn't how this was supposed to go.
Yeah, it's not as fun when he does it. It seems like he
I like
means
it. Yeah, Colin's the disappointed dad.
I'm your drunk uncle. How
That's
are
right.
you?
I'm just some guy at a 7-Eleven that shouldn't be there.
Somebody please give me a map out of here.
So we've discussed doing openers and whatnot. Anyone got something that makes them feel a feeling this week? Happy, sad, emotional, mad, Dan, something that made you laugh. Anyone got any of that shit?
Yes,
Oh,
asshat.
oh,
Okay, let's hear it, Dan.
go.
I have always been a fan of Dragon Ball Z, unashamed. Well, Dragon Ball in general. And now my kids are involved and they love it. And my 2-year-old, Child 2, Dingo 2, is his code name for tactical ops. Dingo 2 now refers to the main character, and it will forever be this, as Goku. And it's amazing. It makes me happy.
I cannot tell you how well that fits into my favorite Dragon Ball memory. My Uncle James, may he rest in peace, used to call mostly Dragon Ball Z, but any anime like that, instead of being Super Saiyans, they were Super Shitters, because the whole episode was them just in a crouched tiger position screaming like they're trying to take the biggest shit they've ever taken.
Fair.
Shout out Randy Marsh.
Yeah. He's the real Super
So-
Saiyan.
That's something that happened this week. So yeah, piss on you. You always think I'm mad and downing.
So something that I'm excited for is I'm going to see Across the Spider-Verse this weekend. And I was like, I just had this thought just now because Tom is going on vacation this week. A core memory of mine from my childhood is going to see the SpongeBob movie with my parents at like noon on a Tuesday on vacation, and there was literally no one else in there. I was like, Tom, you should do that.
That's the
I
best.
don't know
Yeah.
that that's possible,
Not sure if
this
it is
movie.
or not.
but I'm so excited for this fucking movie. The soundtrack's really good.
I was
So is the
listening to it
first one.
today. You sent it to me. 2 or 3 of them tracks are pretty. The Lil Wayne's verse on that first song is pretty tight. It's like
Yeah,
it's like a 12-year-old's version of Lil Wayne and like the appropriate way. Does that make sense?
yeah.
I don't know how to explain
Oh,
it.
that's that first song. The beat on that first song's so good too.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
I can't
Absolutely.
fucking listen to Cohen's, view of music. So him, I got into
Sure.
it last night about music.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that.
It's time of the day.
I have a funny moment about going to
go
a
to play
movie theater
in the
with my buddies.
campground dumpster. It's a lot of fun,
Tom, what
sir.
the fuck are you doing?
is
Down
happening?
by the lake.
That was not the time.
We like
he's
to
too
catch
excited.
snakes and fish till the
I'm gonna believe
sun
all of
comes up in
We're
my
gonna think you're being
pickup
so
truck.
See, Caden? Do you see
Alright.
that?
What? All right. So me, my buddy Kirkland, who happened to get married today. Congrats, Kirkland. And then my buddy
Congrats.
Hayden. We were at the theater watching, I think, the second Jurassic World, I think, come out a few years ago.
Yep.
And it's like us three, and then in the front there's a guy and a girl down there. It's all ones in the theater. So we're sitting there. And it got to a point where like it was like the quiet time in the theater. Like the movie was like really quiet. And we hear I was like, what is happening? So we look, and my buddy Hayden is fucking like out, like snoring. So my buddy Kirkland goes, wake your fucking ass up. Just elbows him. He's like, don't fucking hit me, bro. I'm like, dude, I thought it was a fucking dinosaur growl. I'm like, I don't like this is weird. Like, and then that was just him snoring. Yeah.
That was my first question. Were you like, is there a T-Rex in here?
No, there was nothing. It was like a wide shot of like darkness, and then like they had some like rich guy that lived on like the island. Like, oh, you look at my compound, you know. So yeah,
That was
I
the
think
T-Rex shaking my beer.
don't
I took
think
it
he
as a
lived on
cheers.
an
Fuck
island.
it.
Double cheers. Dinosaur cheers. We just become best friends.
My wife drugged me to the who's the dude? He's one of my favorite actors, Chris Pratt. Yeah, I was excited to see those because of that, but she's like obsessed with dinosaurs. Those movies are pretty cool.
You like Chris Pratt, you say?
Yes, I love Chris
Speaking
Pratt.
of
And he's also the
animated
new
movies.
Yeah, I was about to say he's also the new voice of Goku because the original guy's stepping down after 20 years.
Okay, that feels like it shouldn't be, but I watched Super Mario movie last weekend, and it was actually really fucking good.
I've
Like,
heard.
really good.
Yeah, I've heard that it was. Actually,
And he did a good job.
wife wants to get it for the boys.
Yeah, for sure.
Wife.
We almost rented it, and like since it's still in the theaters, it's like $37. I was like, ooh, okay, we will wait. We'll wait.
Yeah.
We'll wait a month. It's fine.
Oh, I guarantee you that movie, especially being that with all the A-list actors. I mean, Jack Black is
Personal
What the hell's his
hero of
name?
mine. Bowser.
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 yeah.
Pages.
But yeah, like yeah,
That
I
song
imagine-
is terrible.
It's awesome. It's
It's a
purposely
Jack Black
terrible.
song, dude. You can't fucking beat it.
Terrible.
He is one of the most underrated vocalists of our fucking generation. Anyone out there who thinks Jack Black is only like a funny singer, go listen to Wonder Boy. That song is a freaking opus. It is delightful, and it showcases his vocal range. He is fantastic. I love that man. Also, he was in this movie called Bernie. That's like based on a true story about like a closeted gay funeral director, con man person. Very interesting movie. But during the movie, as the funeral director, he offers a service where he will like sing gospel songs at your funeral and stuff. And some of the songs he sings in that movie literally like will move you to tears. He is so pretty when he sings. It's kind of mind blowing watching him be serious. So anyway, I'm going on vacation, you guys.
Yes, yes, give us that.
Hey turds, while you're all at work wondering what I'm doing, I'm gonna be doing stuff on a beach somewhere. Putting toes in the sand. Toes in the sand. Beer in the cooler. Got me a condo. I'm gonna write a whole I'm gonna write a whole
Morgan
country
Wallen?
album while I'm down there.
Shut the fuck
Easy,
I am bringing
easy.
my
Someone
unit.
hear Morgan Wallen? I swear to God.
Easy
Killing the fan
logic.
base.
Don't touch my Uber, because I don't know where I'm going around here and I don't really want to drive my car or learn how to park. Don't
Yikes.
touch
Dude, no
my
shit. I went to DC
Uber.
with a Ram, with a Dodge Ram. Dumbest fucking thing. They have a fucking fuel station in a parking garage, and I could barely fit.
Is it a requirement of being a Marine that you have an old Dodge Ram?
Hey, shut the fuck up.
There's all these fucking like TikToks. The guy's like, hey man, why'd you join the Marines? He's like, the Camaro. Like,
I fucking Camaro or Mustang. Yeah, first off,
oh
yeah.
my God.
No, I was out. I went and picked up Jake when he got out, and we took a trip to DC on the way back home.
Right on.
All right. Let's get into the topic now that we have discussed everything.
I
Peyton,
got a
did you have
fucking
anything?
serious. I have a serious one. If you guys want to debate about it,
Let's do it.
I'm in a debate
Oh, I
mood.
meant like a thing from your life this week, but
He said it.
from my life this week.
Oh wait, yeah, that was a while
no,
ago.
his was
No,
like a
I-
tale of yours,
yeah.
I think.
No, I got my buddy's wedding this weekend, and I have my other buddy's baby shower to go to. So
Bachelor party and a baby shower in 1 week.
yeah. Anyway,
Be fucked up.
All
You
right.
see the same woman at both.
He's
I
gonna
hope
grow
not.
himself to death.
That's
That's
the
a
joke.
fucking lit baby shower. Why are there strippers at the baby shower?
What?
Strippers know
What are you
people
talking
with babies.
about?
I'm talking about the wedding. Oh
You
yeah,
suck.
you did say bachelor party.
I did.
You said bachelor party.
I
Somebody
said
We'll take it there.
Yeah, I said wedding, or I heard wedding. That's what I
You
was.
said
that
baby
was the
shower
joke.
So
and
wholesome.
You
bachelor
suck
party.
ass
It's
is
recorded.
all I'm saying. You suck ass.
The strippers.
Yes, you
money
do.
isn't
Man
paying
ass.
enough.
All right, listen here. I got a fucking serious one. This is probably the biggest conspiracy theory that I think is the most plausible. I think, of course, I'm not a huge conspiracy theorist. So this one says, eliminating diseases serious health conditions isn't profitable. So funding is aimed at producing treatments instead. Like,
So
I agree
have
with
one
that.
main combat to that I
Sure.
know of, and it's that Bill Gates is actively funding to eradicate the 5 major diseases in the world. Like actively funding, researching, like, and I'm not saying it's like gonna work or whatever, but like, you know, if you had to have a financial backer, you couldn't do much worse or better.
no one
Yeah.
poured Bill Gates.
Well, no,
He's
yeah,
old news.
right. But I mean, like, that's not a bad goal. Like, if you're a super rich guy who's like a piece of shit or whatever, I don't know if he is. I
Got
don't
some
really
things
care.
to atone for.
But you know, like, if you're gonna use your money for anything, getting rid of diseases that plague, you know, I would say a good portion of the poor sect or whatever of humanity, it's pretty good. Like polio, malaria, and shit like that.
He is to argue, you know, devil's advocate. If he's focused on those diseases in other countries that, like in the West, those aren't even really a problem anymore because we've taken
Right.
care of them. Like arguably what he's doing is just creating more consumers to buy the treatments for the other things that they don't want to cure, like cancer and things like that.
Well, I mean, think about it. If he cures those fucking diseases, you got more people to buy PCs. I mean, it's
That's for
genius.
sure.
So I was gonna say, the longer they live, the more fucking windows they might buy.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Or Microsoft.
But yeah, no, I
Office
mean,
subscriptions
that's,
for me.
and it's not like I don't disagree with it. There's been so many goddamn cancer drives that we don't even have like one of them knocked out. Like, fuck out of here.
Mhm.
But
The problem with this conspiracy, with most conspiracies anyway, is that you're expecting an awful lot of people to be like quiet about this. And we work at a place with 8 people, and how often can we be on the same page about anything? So imagine needing 1,000 people to be quiet about something that could change the world. Like that's why where you lose me on most of them.
on the same side of that same coin, though, it's like bad communication. Like, yeah, you might have something that could change the world, but Susan didn't send an email from accounting. So guess what? Now nobody knows about the cure for cancer.
Don't think that's how that
And
one would work. but
Someone
yeah.
slipped Susan a fucking check. So they did.
There it
That's
is.
what I was just
That
gonna
or
say,
cyanide.
like,
all that too.
Maybe they
Yeah,
slipped
killing
her a
is more
308
likely.
round.
I feel like there's that conversation, you know, like the guy that invents the car that runs on water has the meeting with all the smoky cigar men, and it's like, you know, there's 2 options for you. Either we buy your idea from you and you never talk about it ever again and you die a rich man, or, you know, just
I'm
We could
sorry,
just-
they're gonna have to shoot my ass.
Mhm.
Also, Blizzard, you owe us money for that ad.
No, we don't.
I don't understand why it's playing ads. I'm just gonna kill it.
Buy Diablo 4.
Bye.
It's gonna be amazing.
It
No,
does
it's
seem
not.
pretty dope.
Dan's not going to buy it. Dan's not even going to buy it. He's lying.
He already done bought it, bro.
So I was listening to a podcast a few weeks ago that had a Hollow Earth guy on talking about his beliefs and whatnot.
Gartha.
And I'm not going to talk about Hollow Earth because it's fucking nuts. But he had. Okay.
Is this what I
Now
think it is?
I'm about to sound like a crazy fucking person, okay? Fuck you, I don't care. So basically, he's talking about his beliefs, whatever, on the Hollow Earth. But one thing he said was like, well, actually, I don't think aliens are from space. I think they're from the Earth. And I was like probability wise, that makes a hell of a lot more sense because we know there's life on this planet. So like, it just feels more probable that it would be from Earth, and we just don't know where in Earth it came from because we haven't explored the oceans. We can't actually go to the center of the Earth, so it is technically feasible. Then these aliens are like, let's go scope out this other planet and just be weird and like kind of get caught on camera real blurry sometimes.
The problem is they are blurry. It's not the camera; they're just blurry, man. The like even farther extrapolation of that is that aliens might not be like living in the Earth and hiding now, but like they could have evolved 1 million years ago and then left already, and then now they're just coming back to see where they came from. That's a plot. There's also a lot of people who think that maybe that there was life on Mars the way that there's life on Earth, and that, you know, at some point we were traveling back and forth and something terrible happened, like a giant EMP fried everything, and we got stuck here, and Mars, you know, became what it is now. I have no idea how, you know, any of that could even be possible, but it's kind of like that. What's that story, John something of Mars, where the guy goes in a cave on Earth and he walks out of the cave and he's like on Mars in the middle of this weird civilization. He like time traveled or whatever. What's it called? John something. I tried to listen to the audiobook of the original that was like written in the 40s, and it's just so weird and misogynistic. I couldn't read the
He was
rest of it.
Confederate cavalryman.
Yes.
And all the aliens called him Virginia. That's what they called him.
That's John something. I keep wanting to say John Carpenter, but that's the guy who made Halloween and stuff.
John Carter.
John Carter. There we go.
Yeah.
Carter 4. Anyway.
That's a good movie. So what's your point, Kellen? What's the argument there?
There's not an argument. It's just a thought. It's, well, we know the Earth has been around for, I don't know, 80 million years, a lot of million years. 53, what? Okay, so we know this rock has the building blocks for life on it and has been around for a gajillion billion years. So wouldn't it, in theory, be more probable that there was advanced life on this Earth that, you know, they saw the meteor coming, they had an extinction level event, and they were like, whoa, Dan. And they went into the Earth somehow or into the ocean because, like, we've only explored 2% of the ocean or something really small like that.
Yeah.
Then that they are from someplace 65 million light years away.
So
I like the idea.
Just probability speaking.
My only argument would be like the size of Earth compared to how big the actual universe is. Like, you don't think there's another?
Yeah, but that's kind of like
but like that person doesn't think that there's another Earth out there somewhere, like another planet that has all the building blocks for life. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I also agree with that, but that argument kind of, it's like the snake eating its tail. It's like, well, because they're so far away, they're gonna have to develop fucking shit that we can't even comprehend right now just to get here. So
well,
again,
like if they're what he's saying is if they're close by, it's more likely they came from here than it is that they came from farther away, because we don't know how frequent life is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would say we don't know how advanced their technology is though either though.
Well, if they're
like,
if
we
they
went
left,
from fucking throwing fucking rocks to shooting rocks on a slingshot to shooting balls out of a fucking muzzle like at 2,000
I still
feet per
think
second. You know what I'm
that
saying?
is nothing compared to traveling that far of a distance.
light years are
Also,
just incomprehensible.
here's the point that was made that I didn't actually think about. We have all these things in space. We have all these radars. We have all this shit. But there's no videos of them coming from space. Why is there never a video of them coming, like, in? It's just always, you know, right around here, whatever. Why have we never seen one come from space if they're from space?
And to be fair, a lot of UFO stories happen where they come up out of water, like out of lakes and out of the ocean. That is interesting.
I just think
Christopher Columbus
probability wise, it
supposedly
would
saw
make
them.
more sense. But it's not like they couldn't just be from space.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say earlier. That word is probability. If you know for a fact there is life on Earth, it's more probable that it's closer to Earth than farther away from Earth.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Speaking of
Yeah.
which, I was just watching a thing today about how there might be life on Titan, one of the moons of Jupiter, which is like the size of Mercury. Super interesting. They think that there's like methane oceans there that could support weird life like we have at the very bottom of the oceans where there's no light and there's like little oxygen and they survive off like weird like volcanic vent chemicals. But there also is possibly a giant water ocean underneath the methane ocean because I guess methane is lighter than water is, so it would rise to the top and be like a skin, possibly. Super interesting. We're supposed to go there with a little drone thing that we've been testing on Mars in 2037.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, so here's to not dying until then. I want to see what's up.
Something cool I seen the other day. It was a diver. I think he was in a lake. Well, it wasn't like because it was fresh water, but at the bottom of the lake, there's I forget what they call them, but like they're like natural springs. The sand just like moving up constantly. So there's fresh water come up from the spring, and he just took his like little nozzle off his mouth and was just drinking like fresh spring water because it's not contaminated by like whatever else is in the water. It's like coming straight out of the ground. He's just gulping it and puts the thing back and swims away. I was like, that's pretty cool, But yeah,
that also
cool.
makes it seem like there's weird tunnels that lead from underground caves into freshwater lakes where UFOs come from sometimes.
Maybe
just link it all together. Magical.
Yeah,
thinking
apparently
is
there's
fun.
a lot of caverns in the world.
There is.
There's basically like
dude.
caves. Like there's probably a cave under your house. It may not be like huge or anything, but it's like there's probably a pocket
the crust
of air
is
down there.
spongy.
Dude, I'm telling you, if you ever have the chance to go to Tennessee or Kentucky or any of those mountainous like areas, like the caves that Caitlin and I went into will blow your fucking mind, dude. Like the one in Tekalichi, like the big room the guy called it. It was so fucking big, like I couldn't comprehend it.
Yeah,
like,
you were telling me.
You see the other side, but like he's like, you see that pillar, and the pillar's like this fucking tall. We're looking at it. Oh yeah, he's like, that pillar's 40 feet tall. Like, what? Things like, what? That's fucking crazy, man. It's like that big. Like looking like that's not that far away. He's like, oh, I think it's 45 foot tall. Like, oh shit,
it's grown 5 feet. Holy shit!
I know. He said that room was as big as a football stadium. He said, I was like, that's fucking crazy.
That's cool.
Just chilling
Very
underground.
cool. Yeah, and it's just gaping hole, pretty much. I mean, there's a bottom, obviously, but like crazy. There's just nothing there. Like you go so far, and there's nothing.
I feel like that's
So,
one of the cool things that's going to happen soon with all of our new drone technology. Like we have flying drones that are really small and have cameras, but we also have like little tank style drones that they're building that are like spherical and stuff, so they can get over obstacles and shit. Like, can you imagine just dropping one of those into a tiny cave and just seeing how far it goes? You know what I mean? I kind of imagine. I don't know if you guys ever seen that episode of House. There's a little pill camera they have now, where if you have a bowel obstruction or something weird and they can't figure out what it is, you can swallow this little pill and it just flashes and takes a picture every so often while it's just going through your colon. Imagine just putting a little robot, that you can get over obstacles with because it's spherical and has like weird tracks on it or whatever. Just put it down a cave and just flash and take a picture every 30 seconds. See what kind of weird shit we see.
Mm-hmm. You ever seen those like videos? The guys like, oh, look at this abandoned like mine shaft, and they drop a fucking like a Molotov cocktail down it and it just goes so you can't see the flame. You're like, shit, like holy shit.
Yeah,
It feels dangerous to drop a cocktail down an old mine shaft, but it's fine.
They could have been mining limestone. Who knows?
Isn't there like a place in Pittsburgh,
coal
or
mine, maybe,
Pennsylvania
yeah.
that's still on fire, like 150 years later or some shit? So, what I wanted to say earlier is, Dan, as a known flat earther, I would like to hear your thoughts on
I don't
the
know.
Hollow Earth, on how crazy the Hollow Earth people are.
If it's flat, it can't be holler.
There it is.
Case closed.
There it is.
Well said, Dan. Well said.
Yes, sir.
That was Dan, and Thomas is the one saying yes, sir. There's another thing that I don't have on a list that I want to talk about, but I know I'm gonna fucking get backlash because it's one I actually sort of semi believe in. And Dan's gonna yell at me.
I'm prepared to drive to your house and burn it down.
No, it's not that
Not as
serious.
Funkos.
Oh, okay.
It's another
Obviously,
probability
I'll
thing
Save Domino, and what happens to
that I
you?
probably talked to all three of you about.
Let's hear it.
But probability wise, if there were to be a simulation that was strong enough to simulate the entire Earth, there would be so many of said simulations, you would imagine that it's probable that you would be in one than not to if they had already been created. I said that really shitty, but do you get what I'm saying?
My argument against that is the same argument against the aliens thing. Until we have the very first one of those that we know exists, we can't really presuppose that there's an infinite amount of them until we know there's one.
But what if they're not allowed to put the simulation in the simulation? Because then we become self-aware. Then what? Because then they have more philosophers like Dan that read fucking Frederick Duche and are like, oh,
Friedrich.
we're in a see, we're in a fucking simulation, bro. If there's one, there must be infinite.
But there isn't one
What
yet.
But that's
You-
what I'm saying
what?
is, what if it's programmed?
The
into that
existence of one
simulation?
does not fucking beget
Shut up!
the
Shut up,
existence
Duche.
of
No
infinite.
one wants you. No one wants you.
The infinitude of the universe
It's
would
like-
presuppose that if something can't exist, it exists an infinite amount of times, which is another weird, mind-blowing thing to think about.
Yeah, I think about that a lot. Like, I wonder if there's a me in another universe that's
Who
like,
hates the fucking
Not a
Falcos?
fucking asshole. Yeah, I wonder that too.
that's probably not. I don't think any of those exist because then it wouldn't
What's-
really be me, would it, Dan?
I want to meet
No.
Mormon Cullen.
I
There it
don't.
is. With the
I
split hair. Oh,
I want to
fuck,
meet
that'd be
Mormon
awesome.
Cullen, and I want him to think that soccer is better, and I need him to be vegan, I think, too.
Okay.
All right, this just
Well-
became a game. What is Dan? What alternate version of Thomas would you like to have
No.
lunch with?
One that's
Right-
gone to therapy. Boom.
Right after we tell
no, that's the one that
Mormon
I don't give
Cullen.
a shit about that. I want one that has all the fucking humanity sucked out of him.
like Soul Dead
Yeah,
Thomas.
I want to see you without fucking remorse, empathy, without any kind of ideology.
You want to
any
have
kind
lunch
of
with the
fucking-
Joker.
Oh, so
See,
Dan wants to go to
emo
lunch with
Thomas.
himself. That's pretty cool.
Yikes. No, I want to see somebody like Thomas if he retains. Not like I want to have it all stripped away from him. I want him to have it like be who he is now, and then just have it like summon fucking Shenron and have that shit evaporated from him, and to see if he can retain it. It's
There
like,
he goes
See
again.
if it comes
Like-
back.
well, no, yeah, but to see if like without, because there was studies done on this with one guy who had brain surgery and came out a fucking robot who was just pure reason and lost his job and all that kind. Anyway, my whole point is like, but the thing is like he didn't understand. If you can understand the previously held beliefs, if you understand the old thing, like if you understand that taking life is wrong, but you don't care that taking life is wrong, but you know that why you thought it was wrong, would that be enough to stop you from doing it? And I don't mean to go straight to that because Cullen is immediately like, he's a serial killing psychopath. But like, I'm just saying, like, or stealing, like it could be anything. Like if you want to go, 5th grade with it, would you steal a loaf of bread? Like, yeah, fuck you, it's bread. Like, Jesus, who cares?
Steal that eraser.
Yeah. You go steal
I really
Elmer's
want that
glue.
New York Knicks pencil.
But yeah, like what morals would survive? I don't know. But I would also
Like, would I still adhere to them because I know them to
Yeah.
be good, even though I didn't have
Yeah.
the feelings corresponding
It's-
to them?
It's the same thing to chop it up quickly. Is me and Cullen were talking a while ago about being wealthy, and I was like, yeah, I still probably, if I was wealthy, I would like to think, and I swear to God, in this other universe, me that's wealthy, if you don't fucking do this, I hope you die in a fiery accident. Not in a fiery accident, by your own hand, you coward. If I was wealthy, I would increase the amount of money that I would take out for an auto loan from 10,000 to 15 to 20,000.
Reminds me of a prof lyric
Fraud.
that you should never mess with a millionaire that mows his own fucking lawn.
Yeah, essentially. I don't believe in giving everything I have to charity because fuck you. Like,
Damn,
Don't get me
Dan's
wrong.
really getting the empathy points this episode.
no, I mean there are causes that are worthy, but like just because you won't get off your ass and do something, don't get me wrong, I'm fucking poor and useless as well. But like if I ever do make it, like I don't know. Those people that are like, hey, let me give $600 million to fucking research fucking faster reading speed. Okay, you're a dumbass. Like, I don't know. There are things that are worth it and things that aren't. And the majority of charity is just for appearance.
All
Like
those
alleviation.
philosophy books and still so dense, Daniel.
I'm a fucking idiot. That's the problem. I've told you before, the greatest horror of my life is the limitation of my own faculties. And I swear to that to this day. But that's why you asked me before why I read these people. It's because you can literally just pull their fucking mentality out of thin air and see what they thought.
Not true.
It's better than reading fucking, I don't know, politics or something, because people's politics change.
Jesus Christ, Dan. You want to fucking hit the fucking big three today?
Well, no. I'm not talking politics. I'm saying that's why it's
The big three:
philosophy.
I'm just
Jesus,
to cut the
guns, babies.
Oh, yeah, I did say something about religion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm just saying philosophy. That's why I read philosophy, is to try people on.
This is why Dan doesn't talk, people. Okay?
Yeah.
Those of you out there complaining, it's because he can't contain himself. He just goes dark so fast.
It's fun. It's like a roller coaster. You're just like,
We're gonna
we're talking about our kids.
kill yourself.
So, what weird cascading side effects would it have if Caden couldn't stop talking? Cullen, go. Alternate universe Caden.
So many
Caveman
what's.
didn't fucking stammer
Bro, what does he
and
say?
brain take a shit every time he talks.
What's that word you say all the
Caden.
time, Caden?
Like,
No, that's not it though. Oh, is it you know?
you know?
It is you know.
Yeah.
Ooh, sorry, listeners.
No, I'm sizzling.
You know?
It just be so many more you knows. That's what I have to imagine.
Right.
Can we hear an impression? Go.
Like, you know,
You
how,
know,
like, you know how
Dance
Colin,
monkey.
you know, he does that.
Is
you
it an
know,
impression
thing.
if you do it yourself? And it's your
Yeah.
Well, it's an impression
Can
of
I do
an
an impression of
alternate
myself?
universe him, right?
Okay, that's fair.
All right.
Would he have a
Okay,
mustache?
you
still?
know. Sucks,
Mm-hmm.
ass,
So, Mormon Cullen, can you give us your pitch? Sell us a watchtower.
So this dude, he finds these tablets, bro, right? And he's got this like rock that sees shit in his hat, but none of you bitches can see it, but he
None of
can
them.
see it, and it's crazy. So he reads these tablets, but he's not gonna tell you for like 5 years for some reason, but you'll figure it out. And he's God, but he's not God. He's not God. It's basically just Christianity with a lot more steps that are really
Mhm.
stupid. You're welcome.
Where do I,
I mean,
sign
that are
up?
really enlightened, and I'm happy for you.
Baller. That was
Happy
fun.
for your beliefs.
Not to play off your theory, Cullen, but like, isn't like the multiverse theory kind of like where there's another you out there that has experienced everything that you've experienced, and then another one
But
that's
every
experienced.
little, everything like just a slight tweak or something.
Yeah.
So this is my thing with that is if we think the universe is infinite, and if we're just going to go under that assumption, would it even be a multiverse, or would it be eventually you would find a planet that had the exact same circumstances this one did, but for
Mhm.
some reason you like fucking banana ice cream more than vanilla? Like every little thing, couldn't it be different if this is technically infinite? You would eventually have to find it.
Exact copy.
That's what so
Yeah, mathematically, that is true.
does it even have to be a multiverse then? If you drive far enough fucking through space, will you find a universe made of pudding? Yes.
Well,
Maybe.
Not without leaving this universe. That's the thing about multiple universes, is
Or
that like
Solar system, whatever, you know what I mean? That's what I meant, sorry.
You mean like a galaxy made of pudding?
Yeah, just
Possible.
fucking some large amount of space.
Yeah, like maybe after a galaxy turns 17 quadrillion years old, it just becomes pudding and no one knows why. There's an ancient race of pudding sailors who sail.
Can we find the butt hamster world?
Mm-hmm.
Can we do it from Rick and Morty?
Yes.
Oh, I was like,
Okay.
what?
That took a turn.
Everyone gets a hammer, Morty, on Earth 7642.
Went from Hollow Earth to butt hamsters really fast.
Yeah, they're the butt hamster world from Rick and Morty. Shout out!
I think we have a
Rick and Morty
title
fucks.
from
Butt
Flat Earth to
hamster
butt
world.
hamsters.
The thing about
okay.
universes, though, that is the point, the reason why you have to have a multiverse versus an infinite universe. The idea is that each multiverse is also infinite, but like we have laws of physics, right? Like the speed of light is supposedly constant or at least predictable. The way things work in our solar system is the way things work in the next solar system. All the same laws apply. That's how we predict things. The idea about having multiple universes is that the laws of physics don't have to be the same in every universe. So like if you're talking about like you want a pudding universe, there could be a different universe that is the pudding universe. And it would just be separate from us, but also infinite. So there might be a pudding Earth with a pudding Cullen selling a watchtower to pudding Thomas.
See, now the answer to this is that we could never know. At least
We couldn't.
Yeah, we can basically never know. But you can't. So in theory, you can't drive far enough to get rid of the laws of physics. But could we ever actually know that that's true? Probably not.
If we could become immortal, possibly.
And just we get in our space Honda Civic and we just drive for a gajillion billion years, and then eventually our fucking
Hard 98.
gravity turns off.
Honda Civic.
We drive for so long
Toyota Camry.
that we've actually forgotten why we started driving, and then we forget what we're trying to learn, and then we just drive right past the pudding galaxy because we don't
God
remember
damn
that.
it.
Now we got to start over.
Are we there
Finally
yet?
find it and it's fucking
No.
chocolate. You're like, ew,
Ron DeSantis is eating it
Keep
with his
driving.
fingers.
gross. All right.
There yet?
Anyway,
No. Are we there yet? No. Are we there yet? No. Where are we going?
7 trillion
I don't know.
years
I don't remember.
later.
all right. We need to batten down the hatches a little bit if we're gonna get through some
Stay on task.
No.
actual amounts. So, Caden, you want to give one, and then I'll give one, and then we can just do back and forth.
Give it to us.
I know you gave last one. Okay. So that high carb, low fat diet has been pushed as a good way of eating because it makes businesses a lot of money.
Because fat is
Because
more
carbs
expensive.
are cheap.
High carb, low fat diet. Yeah.
Wait, high carb? Who would eat a high carb diet?
Yeah. I
And low
think-
fat.
When has that ever been pushed?
Listen,
Well, I guess
Or
what
are we
he's
just
talking
saying
about.
as being good to eat?
He's talking
so
about the industry
okay.
taking fat out of food to make it fat free, but also adding sugar to make it taste good.
yeah.
High
So
carb.
think of like, maybe 10 years ago when you're like, oh, food, right? Oh, this is fat free. I could eat all this. Eat this
Yeah.
whole container, But it has like 6,000 grams of carbs in the whole container.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, because carbs are cheaper for them to produce.
Money drives most things.
Yes. Marketing
All
is
right.
evil.
Dan's pondering his carb intake. He's recently found out his whole life is a lie, and
This
he's
dude
really
has
just
been
relying
mowing down
on the flat Earth
salads
thing.
like it's nobody's business. He's become the salad master. Every day at like 1:00, it smells like a Donato's pizza in our office. He's become the
You gotta
salad
talk,
king.
Dan. This is a fucking podcast, jackass.
Listening, I mean,
Tell us about
Yeah,
your salad, bro.
when my
He's communicating through
You got sunflower
thought.
seeds on that bitch?
telepathy. I hope all the listeners are
Yeah.
grateful for my telepathy. It's
None
just
of them are
spinach
grateful for you.
and pepperoni. Everybody's grateful for me, especially my parents. But anyway, I eat salad every day because that's a thing that I do.
Yeah, cramping my style. Pretty
Um,
lame.
high carb diets, though, that is
So
not
it's definitely not
something
the
I've-
fad right now.
High
That's-
carb,
Damn
low
your
fat
diet.
diet.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm the absolute enthusiast of pizza rolls, but like, I mean, who the hell is that real? Is somebody actually pushing that? Like, can we get some?
Well, he's referring to the industry deciding that low fat meant good, so they would take the fat out of stuff.
Yeah, that's everything you see
they're
now.
Not pushing
like,
they're not pushing it as a fad diet. They're just making all the food that way so that it is our diet.
Yeah, well, that's different. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's
I
even more
remember
sinister because it's not voluntary.
getting a fucking giant bag of Twizzlers, like 0 grams
Zero
fat.
fat,
Give me that
bitch.
fucking bag. It's fucking
I'm gonna use
killing
this
us.
as a
that
straw till it
motherfucker
disintegrates.
I think that's probably switched to 0 carb now, though, like low
Oh,
carb.
Mhm.
yeah, it's flipped for sure. I think.
Yeah, I mean, we got keto's literally a diet. Like that's a thing. So
Tosis.
What's the all meat
I think
one?
the keto diet's a conspiracy
I've
by
heard
the
of it.
dairy industry.
Carnivore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard of carnivore too. Everybody's like, oh, fucking.
It's
A
interesting.
lot of dudes that I know that go to the gym are talking about the whole carnivore thing. I think it's more of a alpha gym bro thing than anything.
It's definitely
I mean,
high protein if you're trying to bulk up. That's good.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, but I mean, it depends. You know.
you
It
also have
has
to have
its-
carbs to build muscles. Like you
What?
can't you can't build muscle without carbs. Like if they're trying to fucking cut, yeah, but if
I
you're
think it's
trying
for
to
dudes who are trying to get
build,
ripped, not get bulked. Is that the idea? You eat spaghetti when you want more muscle, and you eat meat when
yeah,
you
We're
want
talking
more
to
you
muscle.
somebody
need
who
a lot
has-
of carbs.
Who's like, I'm racing against my wife on who has bigger tits. Calm down. I don't know
Same.
enough about that stuff.
All right, we need to get back on track again. All right, I got one. This is probably gonna be up Tom's alley. That Earth has been sucked into a black hole. From here, there's a little excerpt. The European
predict what you're
Organization
gonna
for
say?
Nuclear Research, CERN, is at the heart of a lot of crazy conspiracy theories, including the belief that when CERN discovered the Higgs boson, aka the God particle, in 2012, it inadvertently created a black hole and Earth was sucked into it. These believers think that the world ended in 2012, but we haven't realized it yet.
Because of the time dilation.
Sure, bro. You're the science guy here.
There's a really good episode. Well, there's a whole movie. I've never seen it. Which movie is it where they're by the black hole? It's a recent movie.
Interstellar.
Yes, that's the one. I still haven't watched it. But there's a great episode of Stargate that's like this as well, where they have a Stargate opened onto a world that is in the gravity of a black hole, and the time dilation is leaking into the wormhole, and like they think it's been 3 days in the base, but it's actually been 3 months since they've communicated back to Washington. But yeah, the idea would be my problem with this is if the black hole was created at the location of CERN within the crust of the Earth, we would already be dead. We would not exist. We would be infinitely dense somewhere, wherever things that go into black holes go, which we don't know yet. If we were in the vicinity of a black hole, it could dilate our perception of time to the point where we wouldn't realize that we were stuck because time was moving so slowly for us. But yeah, I don't know. The whole God particle thing is also a little overblown. Like, it's a great discovery, but it kind of led to this, like, it made them realize there are several other particles that we don't know about. So calling it the God particle, like it's the ultimate particle or whatever, is not really.
So what you're saying is it may be like the Jesus or Joseph particle.
It's like
perhaps.
the Moses particle, maybe. You know what I mean? Like, we're talking. There's a few of them. They're like a council of particles. Don't quote me on
yeah.
that.
Council of particles. I'm in.
Well, I think it's kind of like we thought that protons and neutrons and electrons were the smallest pieces of stuff, and then we realized that inside of those are like quarks or whatever they're called that come together in certain ways to make either a proton or a neutron or an electron. Like, if there's smaller parts and smaller parts and smaller parts. So I feel like they unlocked a spectrum of things when they discovered the God particle, not necessarily found the end. You know what I mean? I think as humans, we really like we want there to be first you find this one, and then you find this one, and then you find this one, and then you're done. I think it's one of the reasons why religion's so comforting for a lot of people. Like, well, I got all the answers. Don't need to. We're all done.
No,
Come
but I
back
mean,
to
do you
the
think
fucking paradise
it
when I
ever
die? Sign me up.
Sign me up.
Definitely don't want to learn anything that will make me have to think about something besides that. I don't know why I
Listen,
always
I
get
don't
a
blame
Southern
people
accent.
for that shit.
No, it's
That-
Oh, no,
that's
I don't
if I had
terrifying.
if I had the capacity to ignore all the questions I have about everything, I would love that. That would be great. I think that's what happens when you take a lot of Xanax. That's why I imagine people do that. You just don't have to think about all your bullshit thoughts that you have all day long. Like that thing's
All
like, are you good enough?
atheists.
Are you good enough? Are you good enough? Are you good enough? Are you good enough? That thing's in
I
the
don't think
corner
those-
just tripping balls, leaving you alone.
Thomas, I don't think everyone has those thoughts.
I think more
I-
people than you think do.
Oh, I probably, but I believe in you.
So therapy's a
I don't know.
conspiracy.
Caden, you're up. I forget.
I'm up.
Yep.
You got like some like crazy ones. I mean, these ones like
I got them. If you
I like the
if you
mix.
need.
all right, here we go. JFK, his brother, and Marilyn Monroe were killed by the CIA.
I've heard that.
The Marilyn Monroe thing is fascinating to me. Apparently, she was like
Yep.
very into learning stuff, and she knew a lot of people
Yeah.
who would get drunk and tell her stuff. And yeah,
She's one I believe in, and Kurt Cobain, which I know we've already talked about on this podcast, is
Yeah,
one I believe in.
I always go back and forth about him because he definitely wanted to die sometimes.
Sure. Shit, Marilyn Monroe might have too. Apparently, she's dinky,
Oh yeah, yeah.
which doesn't
She's
make
what?
sense.
Did you
There was
just
a rumor
say
that went
she's-
around like 6 months ago that she stank.
Sometimes,
Oh,
but sometimes she stank.
That's what I thought you said. I thought you said dinky or stinky. And I was like, what?
Yeah, you got to be specific about that because I guess the idea was that she was a manic depressive. So sometimes she would be on her shit and normal, and then sometimes she would literally like
Fair.
eat dinner in her bed and then just put the shit underneath of her blanket so she didn't have to see it and leave it there for a week and like did not smell good.
That's fair.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a
Okay.
fascinating character.
This is one that I 1,100,000,000 bajillion % believe in. Disney created Frozen as a distraction. So when you Google Disney Frozen, it doesn't pop up Walt Disney being Frozen. It's, oh, look at this fucking princess movie. 1,000%, 100,000,000% why they did that.
Why?
So people don't fucking Google like that. That doesn't pop up on Google. I mean, I don't
Why?
think it does at all anymore. I'm pretty sure I saw a thing.
Because they want to distance themselves from Walt Disney being a weird, like
Nazi.
neo-Nazi
Nazi,
who wanted to
yeah.
live forever.
Yeah. For sure.
I think that
Because he is Frozen, Dan.
I think that he was the Elon Musk of his day. You know what I mean? Like everyone thought he was really, really cool for a long time, and then he hit this weird peak, and then things got real fucking weird, and a lot of stuff
And then
came
he
out.
ruined Twitter.
Yeah,
Son of a bitch, Walt Disney.
ruined it.
Isn't he kind of like the fucking Mr. House of New Vegas? Kind of like, aren't
Yeah,
they kinda like,
Yes, that's what it's inspired from.
okay, that's what I thought.
Absolutely. I think I would love to have met that dude for sure. He's one of those dudes that we talked about in our like history go meet people podcast.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Like he's one of those dudes that I'm really genuinely curious, A, what he was like when you just talked to him, and then B, like, can we get a drone in his room just to see like what he says to himself in the mirror when he's alone? Because I feel like Walt Disney might have been one of those people that's like very outward face and very inward face, where like his inner circle knew everything, but there was like this cone around him that protected him and put on this fake face for the world. I don't know. I'm curious about that for sure.
To have been a fly on the wall, my friend.
Yes. That would be my preferred time travel vehicle, a tiny fly. Ant-Man.
You got another one, Caden?
This one says the whole thing about North Korea acting like idiots so that people don't take them seriously, leaving them relatively free to treat human rights the way they do.
Sounds political, and I'm not versed in that, so no comment.
I think the idea is they do some of the more ridiculous things they do to kind of counterpoint all of the terrible. It would be like if the Nazis also like fired off a bunch of shitty missile tests into the ocean that obviously failed, and then, you know, made a movie about how much of a success they were, people would not have taken them so seriously. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm,
Like he's pretending to be Pee Wee Herman when really he's like evil Jim Carrey.
I
Yeah.
gotcha.
It's not
That's
it's not like Germany where like, oh, Germany's fucking like booming. Oh, and they're fucking like killing like mass genocide and shit like that. So North Korea we're like, look at these dummies marching. And these people crying at this fucking goon as their leader. And then we're like, oh, whatever. And then like they're still starving people. And like I seen a story the other day. They put a baby in prison because his grandfather or whoever's relative like was like, oh, talking out against the government. So they put a baby in prison. Like, oh yeah, you're just here in prison now.
Bitch.
Yeah, they punish families for 3 generations. So if you fuck up, your kids and their kids are also in trouble.
Crazy.
Ha! You're only getting 1 generation out of me, bitch.
And that also could be what you were saying too, though, Caden. Like, what if that part of it was fake, and they did that to scare the shit out of all the other people? So they, you know what I mean? Like there's just like psyop on top of psyop going on in places like North Korea, I think.
Yeah, like if they invaded South Korea and took South Korea, we're like, oh, hey now, you can't do that.
Yeah, I feel like South Korea knows that they are more formidable than the world thinks, and that's why the DMZ is as wide as it is.
Mm-hmm.
They got what, 3 or 4 different countries have soldiers there watching the DMZ all the time.
Yeah.
All, like at least us in Australia and South Korea.
It still blows my mind. There's like something like that, you know. Even I don't know. I just watched the Chernobyl thing on HBO Max. Very fucking good. Chernobyl. It was a very good series.
Gut wrenching.
Like they were talking about Germany and like East and West Germany. I'm like, what? I'm like, oh yeah, Germany was like split in half for like a long time. So for a long time. But
is that the fucking thing where they're like a nuclear disaster could never happen under the Soviet Union, and they like said it repetitively? Is that that?
Yeah, like it happened, and then the bigwigs were like, "Listen, we gotta cut the phone lines and prevent the spread of misinformation." Meanwhile, the fucking like their reactors fucking producing fucking more radiation than all the bombs that were dropped in ever.
Yeah. They've got a fucking dude in a helicopter above it, just like praying for rain.
Yeah. Well, their plan was to drop sand and boron on top, like on the core.
Yeah.
The first chopper that went over it, like hit a chain and just fucking fell. But yeah.
Yikes.
Then there were like they brought in like 700,000 like civilians to like help like deal with it, and there was the one episode this he was maybe 17 or 18 years old, and he got assigned to this unit. And so there were people that with these bulldozers dug up the topsoil. Their job was to dig up the topsoil, bury it under the undersoil pretty much. There were people, their jobs were to cut down trees, pretty much just burn everything because it was all contaminated. Then this kid got assigned to this group that went around and like hunted animals, from the smallest animal, like a rabbit, up to a cow, anything that they found that killed. So they went in the middle of this town and were like whistling, and all these stray dogs come running because they're all humans, and they're just fucking just. Of course, it doesn't show it, but they're just like killing dogs. I'm like, damn, man, that'd be hard for me to do. It's like these two guys are doing it, and this kid's like, shit, like what the fuck?
The craziest part about that is all the animals are back. Apparently, I've seen some of that too. Like there are like big giant populations of wild ass animals living all over Chernobyl, just dealing with the radiation.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, the plant life is taken off there as well.
I'm sure. What was it? River Monsters. Jeremy Wade. He caught a catfish in the Chernobyl River. Big old catfish.
All right. Speed fucking round, boys. Like speed round. Caden, get your next one up. Prince Charles is a vampire. You may be saying, why is Prince Charles a vampire? Well, I'll tell you. Prince of Wales is related to Vlad the Impaler, the inspiration for Bram Stoker's Dracula, and many royals in Charles' bloodline were known to have the disease porphyria, which is an iron deficiency that causes people to be sensitive to sunlight. So he might be a vampire.
I feel like
Any thoughts?
it depends on what universe you're taking your vampires from, because most vampires are so much prettier than that.
He's not a Twilight vampire, that's for sure.
Ooh.
I stake him, and if we're wrong, chalk it up to war as hell.
I'll sort them out.
Fucking Salem witch trials shit, Dan. Good job.
Fuck no. I'm not letting the kids direct this shit.
That dude has had the best life.
That's what I'm saying. Fuck him.
Probably
Yeah.
ever.
He's so old.
Wait, is this the
It's
dude
fine.
that's in America now?
No.
No.
Oh,
He's actually
okay,
kind of
never
pretty.
mind. What?
He is a ginger, but yeah, he's actually like young and vibrant and handsome. We're talking about the weird corpse looking guy.
We're not talking about fucking. We want privacy.
Am I wrong? Aren't we talking about the actual guy who's the king now?
My new book. Wow. That's amazing. Oh,
Fuck.
shit. Okay.
That's okay. Never mind. Yeah, forget what I said.
Bigfoot. That's one. That's my next one. Caden, go.
Our solar system is a quarantine zone. Humans are not meant to leave it and contaminate the rest of the Milky Way.
I fucking agree with that.
Yeah, my favorite name for
Would be
this
sensible.
line of thinking is called the humans are orcs theory.
Jesus Christ.
That we are space orcs and they are containing us, because as soon as we are capable of leaving our solar system, we will just colonize and eat everything like we're ants.
Yep. So we're just a parasite. That's what you're saying?
No, we're worse than that.
No.
We don't just take over things. We like destroy them and then take their place.
What's the word for that?
Um,
Or like termites?
We're an invasive species.
There, that's what it is. Now we got it.
Which makes sense. I mean, we are real good at making babies. That's actually one of the
okay.
things that I think is interesting about like fictional aliens and stuff, and like a lot of things that make alien species in fiction interesting is the fact that they don't have a lot of the drives that we have. It's very possible that we're like the rabbits of the universe. You know, everyone's like, get them the fuck out of here. They're in our garden again. All they do is fuck and eat.
Okay, I got a real crazy one for you. Apollo 17 wasn't the last moon mission. After the success of Apollo 17 in 1972, America stopped sending astronauts to the moon. NASA claimed they had logged all the research they needed and government funding was reduced. But a movie about the fictional Apollo 18 came out, and now some believe the mission was real and ended tragically when the astronauts had a run-in with aliens.
Yeah, this falls
Awesome.
into the moon base on the dark side of the moon, you know, secret
Yeah.
civilization. Rich people have like a colony to go live on if the earth is destroyed, and that's why they don't do stuff about climate change. And this is a theory that has fingers in a lot of different conspiracy puddles.
I feel like a lot of conspiracies are like that. They just kind of like to breed.
We like to put the pins in the board and put the string between them. We're connecting
True,
dots,
yeah.
Cullen. It's not magical thinking, except for when it is.
I mean, it's pretty much magical thinking. Caden, you got one, or can I just fucking go?
I got two.
Okay,
The government has figured out a way to control the weather.
I've heard that one a lot.
What do you think? Think it's
Somebody's
possible?
fucking up the Ohio one. Somebody's
No
just
shit.
like let
That's
their
why
kid
it's so
loose.
bad. They hate us.
They're like this strong fucking dark
Yeah.
fort, dude.
We don't know if we're going to get these people sick by making it 90 and 60 in the same week.
I've often wanted to do that, like go to the library and look at like the Farmer's Almanac from 200 years ago and see if the weather was this stupid back then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if it's a recent phenomenon, we might have a theory on our hands. What if the weather control is like cell phones and there's towers everywhere, and we're in like one of those places where the towers all sort of overlap, but they don't really cover it? We're getting multiple programs at once.
It's either if it's a modern phenomenon, it's either electronic or that, or it's either heroin. Like one of the two.
Could be
It's drug related, or it's like if there's enough fentanyl in the air to affect the atmosphere, then
all
by
these
God,
melancholy
Ohio's got
folks are fucking with the weather.
That's right.
They have such high highs and such low lows.
That's right.
They're affecting the equilibrium.
Let me do my last one, Colin.
Well, I was just going to say too that the weather thing, if they can control the weather, then that might also be why they don't seem to give a shit about climate change and the government.
There's like, we'll just turn the heat down. It's fine.
People are bitching, turn it down.
We're going to wait till it gets so bad we can use it to our advantage, and then once we're all about to die, we'll turn it down and calm it off.
There you go.
This one's interesting. Because the lottery was created to catch time travelers.
How the fuck does that work?
That's it. How do you mean? How would that work?
Like, I'm all about the whole lottery is like a tax on the poor, because like people who actually have their shit together don't play the fucking lottery, but like fucking time travelers, like come the fuck on.
If you guess all 5 letters and the Powerball, and it's just a guess, that is awful goddamn suspicious.
Some fucking Karen from Indiana who doesn't genuinely need it because her husband makes 6 figures definitely does that. But some fucking guy who's trying to get by and feed his family can't fucking do it. Or I'm sorry, Samuel from fucking West Virginia who's gonna die from a fucking coke overdose. He'll fucking win the Powerball. There are people that do it.
And croaking a fucking mountain of fucking coke on his glass coffee table.
These useless, worthless people. Yeah.
Listen, Dan. It's not saying that every dumbass that wins the lottery is a time traveler, but they're gonna get a good look at him first. Like, is he wearing real shiny pants?
Is that real? I've heard that like if you win it, you can't hide the fact that you've won it. Is that
public
real?
record? Yep. They have to. Take
So that might be a part of it. That's probably leaning. Like, that's probably aiding towards the conspiracy.
I can't remember what the hell it's called, but there's a movie about that where this mob dude was laundering money through the lottery, where he would hear about people winning, and before they turned the ticket in, he would buy it from them with dirty money, and then have one of his people turn the ticket in and collect the check and get the legit money. I can't remember what the hell that movie was called, but it was all about that aspect of the lottery where, you know, it seems like the same type of person always wins. It's because this dude is setting it up. Look that way. You know what I mean?
Huh.
All right, I got one last one, and we'll fucking call her a show.
Sweet.
Bill Gates is making fake snow.
Where?
For what purpose?
With extreme weather conditions occurring across the United States in 2021, TikTokers, oh god, stoked the fires on a Bill Gates conspiracy theory that he was creating fake snow that burns instead of melts. Why, you ask? Don't ask me, because it doesn't say.
Excellent.
It was just the fucking craziest one left on the list. I was like, all right, we're going with that.
My favorite TikToker, Mr. Hank Green, the host of SciShow and a bunch of other cool science stuff, he actually did a video about this. The reason why snow turns black and looks like it's shrinking, like it's styrofoam, is because the lighter you're using has soot in it, and it evaporates the ice without it having to turn to water. It turns directly into steam, which is why it melts or disappears or whatever. And the black charry stuff is the soot from the fuel in your lighter. And he also proved that that's the case because if you use a oxygen hydrogen torch, which doesn't have soot, it doesn't do that. So that's my thing about that. People who want there to be fake snow are fascinating, though.
I think it just gives people something to believe in, or like it makes it. I think most conspiracy theories are people feeling like they have, like they're walking around like they know something, like
QAnon.
I think that's where that comes from most of the time.
I bet the Venn diagram of QAnon and fake snow believers is real thick.
I think
Probably.
More so than people just wanting something to believe in. I think conspiracy theories probably sprouted, in my opinion, from people's just general distrust. Like, once things started to deteriorate, once trust in the institutions and all that started to deteriorate, I think people started Not even they started asking questions, but they started the worst thing is they started coming up with their own explanations. That's the problem. And God, I think it's like what 20, 25 years before sealed. What is it? Sealed. Secret documents like the JFK thing just became available. I think it's like 20, 25 years until shit like that becomes available. That doesn't help. But I also, there are things that countries have to keep secret, even from the people. But whatever, I don't think it's because people are running around begging for something to believe in. They have God for that. They have family. They have Chick-fil-A for that. I think it's people left to their own devices. I mean, you've even said this about me and my dumbassness. It's if you leave yourself in your own goddamn corner, you're going to come up with all kinds of fucking fallacies and craziness. I think that's majority of what's happened here. Most people have just come to their own conclusions misguidedly without the due information, and it just goes down. And not to mention the internet. Think about that for a second. You put anything on the fucking internet, it's going to grow legs of its own. And just
it's
take on a whole new life.
tulpa.
I mean, for fuck's sake, I just found fucking Dingo 1 watching this fucking like flesh-covered tornado siren guy called Siren Head. And it's just like this new creature from a dude that made what's his name? The tall dude that there's a movie about
Man.
Slender Man, yeah. But it's like from that guy. And it's like the new internet creepy pasta thing. And I'm like, it doesn't, but that's the thing. Like, it just, conspiracy theories to me may start organically and, with honest intentions, but it's just like anything else corrupted by man. It's once it gets a big enough following or once it gets enough exposure, I'll call it, it takes on a life of its own. Too many people are contributing to it to where it becomes poisoned.
Yeah, the internet is definitely a double-edged sword because it gives you access to smarter people than you, but it also gives you equal access to dumber people than you. So the internet's kind of like a library where you're allowed to write your own book.
Yeah. Well, I was like, what the fuck?
I'm going to write my book about my theory about gravity, and it's going to go right next to Einstein's book because we're equal.
Yeah, but that's exactly like a lot of people are like, fucking TV. Like, the television was originally intended as an educational device. It's you fucking people that like were like, we need soap operas and Jersey Shore. You are the scum, first off. But then, yeah, the internet is an amazing tool. It's literally, you have the capability of being one of the most intelligent or most educated people at the drop of a hat. Now, no one does that, obviously, because who has time for that? Like, everybody still has a real life. Just because you have the capability to do something doesn't mean that you can or will or won't or whatever. But in the same rule, like, you also can't visit any site now without porn being on it or some form of it, or, it's just, there's always going to be it is exactly what you said. It's a double-edged sword. It's the perfect way to say it. You can reach out all the way across the world. You remember when you used to have to fucking buy one of them cards to dial to fucking Canada? Now, literally, you can get on and send an IM to some dude in India if you want. Like, it's just amazing. But at the same time, it's horrifying because it's dangerous how stupid we're allowed to be with this much access to information.
It's like we're given access to way too much gasoline per person these days. Yeah. It's insane. There aren't more fires. Metaphorical gasoline.
Rant number, I don't even know. Done.
We'll count them one day. One day we'll have fans. They'll count them for us. Minions. Where you at, fans?
We post every episode on our YouTube page. Search Highly Visible on YouTube to find us. You can give us a like on our Facebook page, Highly Visible Podcast. We also all use Twitter, and our usernames are all at HighViz, whatever our name is. Dan, Cullen, Caden, and Thomas. We also have a page on Instagram at HighViz Podcast. And Thomas and I are on TikTok, and now our podcast has its own TikTok. And you can find us at HighViz Pod, at HighViz Cullen, and at HighViz Thomas. And if you want all this info in one place, our link tree is linktree.com/highlyvisible. Thanks, everyone. We hope you enjoyed the episode.